I was 9 years old when I first saw a maid being beaten by her employer. I still remember how she cried as her hair was pulled and she was violently punched in the chest. And this wasn't the only abuse I witnessed. I'd frequently see housemates, some as young as 15, being yelled at and called racist names by their employers. When I was 14, I began paying attention to news stories about migrant workers here in the Middle East. Headline after horrifying headline: maid commits suicide, construction workers starved to death, maid beaten, driver killed, yet little is being done about it. A vast sea of foreigners pour into the Gulf to work as manual laborers, domestics, and drivers. Saudi Arabia alone absorbs 500,000 housemates per year who've left their worlds behind to work for complete strangers who are free to abuse them or even choose not to pay them. There have been literally hundreds of thousands of cases of unpaid salaries. Enticed by the promises of good wages, many go into debt paying fees to crooked job recruiters, only to find wages so low it will take them decades to break even. Some employers confiscate their passports, making returning home impossible even if they have the money. This amounts to modern-day slavery, and it makes me feel depressed and helpless, but most of all ashamed that this has been taking place year after year right in my very neighborhood. Migrant workers in the Middle East are undervalued, exploited, and denied basic human rights. While so many of us have turned blind eyes to this situation, thousands of migrant workers have been living in squalid labor camps or languishing in the households of abusive employers, their spirits broken and without hope of ever again seeing their families. We have a collective responsibility to these people. Someone must speak up and fight on their behalf, and that someone is us.
These are the construction workers being driven home after another 12-hour shift. Tek Prasad came here from Nepal to do manual labor. His salary of $180 per month is his family's lifeline back. They haven't been paid in 4 months.
They're not even treating us as human beings because they are not giving us our salaries.
Tek came to Doha so he could send his children to school and pay for his wife's medical treatment. He took out a bank loan to finance his trip here.
Every day that I work, I get more and more tense. I think about how I will pay for my debt, the school fees, and my wife's doctor.
All of these men have similar responsibilities. They took a gamble on Qatar and mortgaged their land to come here. Both their families and their bankers are waiting for the money to be transferred home. And they
metal pins into her body when she asked for her wages.
The master of the house held me down while the mistress gave him the metal pins to put into my hands and leg. I endured the pain in silence because I thought I may be killed if I struggled.
The 14 pins in the woman's body were taken out during 2 operations.
It is claimed as a torture case. So what we thought was if we keep that in the body, her body, it may cause some psychiatric problems for her in the future.
Lechumi's husband, a manual laborer, had hoped his wife would help him build a home for the family. But today he wants justice.
She went because we were poor. Recruitment agencies, like the one who sent my wife, should be caught and punished so that this doesn't happen to others.
Nation in the Middle East. But what does this mean? The nation is a peninsula from Saudi Arabia, a small landmass consisting predominantly of uninhabitable desert fit only for camels and extreme motorists, surrounded by the warm Indian Ocean, the original source of all revenue for Qatari. Along with live birds, which are kept as pets. The well-being of animals is by no means a priority for this culture. Pay no tax but receive housing benefits and free healthcare and education. But beneath the service lies discontent. Labourers from India, Bangladesh and the Philippines are often forced to live in far more squalid conditions.
Saddled with a $3,500 debt and hounded by the moneylenders, Venakti killed himself last month. Now a widow, Gangamani has no way of providing for her 2 young children. Her husband was one of the tens of thousands of people from the subcontinent who are lured to the Middle East with the promise of well-paid jobs. 100 people just from this tiny village in southern India made that journey, but most are back. Their passports are being illegally held by their former employers. A photocopy is all they've got left.
But I am not family, and I'm going inside.
Of course, but you are the English people, right?
Yeah.
This rules of the management.
Why is this? Well, what if he wants to come with me, this guy?
Sorry?
Can he come inside with me?
No, sir, they can't.
Why?
Because we can read their face.
You can read their face?
Yes, we can read their face.
What do you mean?
Arabics. Excuse me. Families, then Arabics.
But I'm not an Arabic guy.
Asian people, especially for Asian people, is not allowed to go inside.
I understand it's not your law, it's not your rule, but it just seems a bit unfair, you know? It seems kind of racist. I mean, what about this guy? Where was he from?
Arabic.
You can read it in his face.
Yes,
what if he's half Arabic and half Filipino or Nepal? What do you do?
We'll ask them, where are you from? Like that.
وهذا في القانون الوضعي، القانون الشرعي أيضا يدخل في هذا، يعني يؤيد هذا الجانب، وهو مسألة الحرابة، لأنه هو إفساد في الأرض. صحيح. لما يأتي إنسان ويقوم بعمل المشين وهو اللواط مثلا، أو في جانب الصالونات النساء كالسحاق وغير ذلك بالنسبة للنساء، هذا إفساد في الأرض، هذه عقوبته الإعدام.
غير القانون شو ممكن تعمل؟ غير المؤبد والإعدام.
يعني في الشريعة الإسلامية اللواط إذا ثبت يرمى من مبنى عالي.
طب أنت شو بتعمل فيهم؟
أنا حقيقة يعني أستخسر فيهم الإعدام، والله هؤلاء ينبغي في الواقع أن يوضعوا في مكان عام ويجلدوا ويعذبوا حتى.
On her case, whilst her wounds may cause shock and outrage, human rights organisations say this type of abuse is all too common. Laura
Banned from the malls, barred from the souks, discouraged from the Corniche. Qatar labourers have few places to go except here, the central bus station.